Hi, and welcome back to AskEma.com. And in today's episode, which was still in season one, but what I want to do is still just introduce myself again for those that have not checked in. My name is Ema Giaccoli. I am a licensed real estate broker. I am an an independent broker. I started the AskEma.com blog and the Ask Ema Giaccoli videos on YouTube specifically for you, the consumer, to enlighten you and show you and point out to you some of the things that are challenging in real estate purchases, as well as things to look out for, as well as aligning yourself with some of the best agents in the industry, regardless of where you're buying in real estate. Real estate is real estate all across the world. So at the end of the day, these little tidbits that I share are very important for you to write down. So we did cover go from renting to buying in 3 simple steps. We've covered plenty things about first-time buyers. We're going to cover more, but this is Ema's weekend Q&A, and it starts right now. So over the weekend and during the week, I was really packed up this week, so there is a delay in delivering this information, but I was out in Staten Island working with the buyer, looking at some real estate there, and there's some great areas there for investment purposes. So whether you're buying an investment home or you're buying a primary residence, I think you should definitely check into that North Shore area of Staten Island. Lots of opportunity, future opportunity. So if you need some information or want to talk about it, please contact me personally. Again, it's Ema Giaccoli, Tyler Vincent Real Estate. Send me an email or even a text message. My phone number is listed on the internet. So I want to get into this a little bit. So I had started in customer service since 1986. I know I'm dating myself, but I worked at Brooks Brothers, and then from there I went on to work for Trans World Airways, which is TWA. Some of us don't even know what TWA is because they've been long gone since. From there, I moved into the travel business, handling strictly high-end leisure clients, as well as politicians of all sorts. Some you know the names of, celebrities, most of them you also know, and attention to detail is very critical. So that's one thing that I carry with me forever. I try not to make any kind of mistakes because mistakes, I just don't like them, but we all make them. We're all human. But at the same time, that career earlier in my life had definitely allowed me to utilize all my natural innate abilities, which was high attention to detail, strict customer focus, high level of customer service. And so when I go anywhere, I expect that. And when I don't see it, I have to make a comment about it. And the same thing, I drag that into the real estate business. So for me, it's not about selling the homes. It's about the service that I provide to each and every client that actually decides they want to work with me. Otherwise, I'm just not going to work with them. And so I will no longer be like the type of agent that list things that don't sell. That's not for me. So things like of that nature, it's like a waste of time. I'd rather spend my time at the beach or at the park or on a school trip with my son. So moving right along, customer service is big. We were in Staten Island, a couple of agents that I encountered. One was great, the other one okay. Some just send you with a lockbox code. I don't like that. You're here to service the seller as well as service the buyer, and we're here to service the buyer as well as service the seller. So we're here to make a deal. We're not here to just tour the properties on our own, especially when we're coming from an outer borough. And so I feel like that's like not cool. So I am creating that emails list for a reason, because the level of service that I command and expect and I give to my clients is bar none. And so that's that. Then I spent a day and a half out on the North Fork. We visited a bunch of places and some vineyards and stuff, and there's a lot of things to look out for there too. Buyer beware will continue. When you're purchasing on agricultural land, just be aware. Fertilizers, pesticides, and things of that nature have been seeping into that soil for decades. And that's whether it's here or any part of any country where there's farmers. And remember, years ago, the chemicals were extremely dangerous and toxic to humans. That's why we don't use them anymore. But all that stuff and the residue is definitely in the ground. So, these are just small things to keep your eyes and ears open for. So now we're going to mosey on into our weekend Q&A, which I want to make more like a conversation and not like a question and answer type forum today. So someone had a conversation with me and said, what can I possibly do if I did buy a house and noticed later that the house has a leaky roof, which I didn't notice when I was buying, nor did my home inspector catch because it's a small little tear and sometimes you can't really see that. Well, pretty much at the end of the day, once you've bought the home and you've done your home inspection and you didn't have the opportunity to visit on a rainy day, it's sort of like buyer beware. So now you have to just make sure you hire a good roofer who can seal that hole up so you don't have any other further water damage, because water damage is bad. Water is terrible for homes. It rots wood, it creates moisture, creates mold. It's just bad. There's nothing positive that comes from water in a house. Okay, so make sure that you do take care of that. There's nothing you could really do legally because you did a home inspection and you didn't visit on a rainy day. Again, I think we touched on that in the last episode. Visit properties on a rainy day if you ever get the opportunity to, and then you'll see all the leaks, right? But usually they cancel those appointments. I also have a neighbor actually that had purchased a property that had a driveway and a two-car garage. It was actually a property I wanted to purchase back in 2011, but the driveway doesn't actually fit a car. So you end up buying a house with a two-car garage and the driveway doesn't fit a car. Now, something like that, there's nothing you could do. You can't expand the driveway because you'll be in the next neighbor's property. Perhaps it was built at a time where they still using horse and carriage. I have no idea. I didn't look up the year of the house, but I know it's pretty old, but probably 1925, 1950 at the latest. So cars were around, smaller cars perhaps. But anyway, so things like that. Do you want to buy a house with a driveway and a two-car garage that you can't use? I don't think so. Buyer beware. Measure it yourself. Forget about what they write in the ads. Forget it. So someone asked me if I would recommend looking into multiple neighborhoods at the same time or to do one neighborhood at a time. So here it goes. Anytime you're willing to buy a real estate, I'm not talking about the 1%ers who have advisors and, trust accounts and all this stuff. I'm talking about the average purchase buyer. The average person goes from renting to buying and doesn't have the resources like the people in the 1% bracket. I'm here to help you, the bulk of the United States, the middle class, working class people that are trying so hard to get ahead and keep their head above water. That's who I'm trying to talk to. And so, yes, I recommend looking at multiple neighborhoods. You can do them at the same time, except for travel and navigating the areas in which you're looking. So I would say keep your mind open to multiple areas, absolutely 100%. So I'm going to give you a for instance. For instance, you would like to purchase a house up in Newburgh, New York. I would also say to look at 2 areas around Newburgh, New York, maybe New Windsor and maybe Medina, Plattekill, Wallkill, New Paltz. Pick 3 so that if you don't find what you want right there in Newburgh, within 10 or 15 minutes, maybe even 20, depending on which direction you're going to go in, you'll be able to look for real estate, and I bet you'll find something that you like and something that fits the bill, okay? So every time we have an idea, our ideology, I want this, I want that, it has to look like this, it has to be like that, the majority of people buy opposite of what is in their minds when they realize that their pockets are just not deep enough to give you what you actually wanted. But that doesn't mean you're settling, right? We're finding a home, you're building a life there. It's just that what you need in a home may not always appear in the area in which you'd like to live. So open mind, 2 areas that surround the main area. So that's 3 areas. And yes, you could do them at the same time depending on travel time. When you have a great agent, a buyer agent, they're working out an itinerary so that you're not zigzagging through 3 or 4 different neighborhoods and backtracking, right? You want to set out and you want to keep going. You want that train on the right track. So yes, it's okay with 3 neighborhoods. You should definitely keep your eyes open for that, okay? More than 1 is fine, absolutely fine. Just make sure it's all about your time. Okay, so someone wrote in like they're afraid to make a mistake and they're not sure that buying is really right for them. And so buyers go through these emotional moments too. It's a lot of fear. It's a big commitment. Again, it's a 30-year commitment for most mortgages. Some are 10, some are 15 years. Some even expand to 40. So at bare minimum, you are committing yourself to a bank for 30 years. Naturally, it's frightening. Naturally, it's scary. See, when you rent, you could just like get out, your lease is over, done, pack your bags, and you mosey on to another neighborhood. Don't be afraid of that 30-year commitment. What you need to do is, number one, release that fear and just realize that you're just putting money in a fireplace, right? Your money's going to a fireplace when you rent. And so therefore it's like almost, burning it, right? No tax write-offs, no advantages, no nothing. Don't be afraid. Release the fear. Meditate. Do some auto writing. Write your love letters to the universe and just get that stuff out into the surface. Get quiet. See what comes to you. Today might not be the day, but if it's on your mind, make it happen. Whether it happens today or tomorrow, it happens on your time and no one else's time. And don't let anyone push you into anything you're not comfortable with. And please do the math. Okay, when you buy a home, there are a lot more expenses that you will not expect and definitely do not exist as a renter. So please do the math. And so making a commitment to a landlord to be on time with your rent, why not make a commitment to yourself to get yourself ahead of the game in the near future? Protect yourselves. Use your money wisely. Use your time wisely. Use a fantastic real estate agent who's honest, loyal, trustworthy, and transparent 100% of the time. And look out for all those hidden things. Check the cancer rates if you're buying in a farm area. Check and see what the water is like. Have a water test. Spend the extra money. You only have one life, one chance at this journey. Make it the best that you can. Enjoy it. Make sure when you turn that key and go home, you love where you live. You are happy where you are, because only you are going to be the one turning that key, not us, right? So at the end of the day, please make sure that everything is fine. Make sure you feel good and make sure you make the right choices. And again, I offer consultative services in case you ever need to chat with someone outside of your realm, because sometimes we don't want to feel that peer pressure from our family or friends, especially when we have friends that want us to live next to them. And perhaps our pockets just aren't as deep as theirs. And so we need to do the right choices for ourselves, and don't put yourself in a bind, because the bank has no problem shutting you down and taking your house back. So please, buyer beware. Send in some questions. Everywhere I go, I talk to people. I'm all over the place. I have a lot of experience with customer service, and definitely a ton of real estate experience to share. I've acquired tons of knowledge since 2002, and I'd love to share it. So till the next time, take care and beware.